Do you think that there'll ever be another Ozzy Osbourne?
Unless it's Youngblood, I don't think so, man. I don't see one.
All right, before we begin the show, let's thank our sponsors. First and foremost, our title sponsor, Once Upon a Coconut. All natural, non-GMO coconut water with natural electrolytes and no added sugar. You can choose from pure blueberry, pineapple, watermelon, sparkling energy, and chocolate flavors with Once Upon a Coconut. Stay hydrated and refreshed. And if you're wondering why it tastes so darn good, it's due to a combination of factors, including the freshness and sweetness of young coconut water, the lack of additives, and the natural electrolytes present. And the best part about it, Once Upon a Coconut, 10% of profits go to charity that benefit our communities, including the Down Syndrome Foundation, Breast Cancer Foundation, Leukemia Society. Good things, good people, great product. So you can grab it at some Sprouts, you can grab it on Amazon, you can go online to find a store near you or purchase it right there off of their website, onceuponacoconut.com. It is delish. Big thanks to Inspect All Pest Services, our buddy Nick and the crew over at Inspect All Pest Services, providing the highest quality termite, pest, and wildlife control. That's not all they do. Inspect All can take care of your insulation, pressure washing, gutter maintenance, and other home services in Metro Atlanta and the surrounding areas. Remember, seasonal, you get different bugs and critters all around your house, so you want to go with the best in the business, and that would be one of our fine sponsors from day one, InspectAllServices.com. It's the Mad Dog, Manny Aurora, with the Aurora Law Firm, best darn defense attorney in the world, litigating all over the United States, based out of Georgia. We're talking criminal defense, white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, appeals, and more. And you can always get your legal questions answered by the Mad Dog, Manny Aurora, by getting those to me. And when he pops up on a show, you get your questions answered. So go to thebaileyshow.com and we'll get those questions to the Mad Dog. The Aurora Law Firm. He is the best in the business when it comes to therapists. There's no doubt about that. I use them, and so should you. We're talking about Dr. David Markwell with Ridgeline Counseling. He's got 10 therapists in-house, 3 different locations there in Georgia, one across from Sprayberry High School in Sandy Plains in East Cobb, Marietta near the Square in McKaysville, just outside of Blue Ridge. But if you're not in Georgia and you need to talk to the good doctor, then you can go online and get virtual sessions. Ridgeline Counseling at gmail.com if you'd like to email him directly, or go online to markwelltherapy.com. There is no better time to check if your insurance is any good. That's why FBC Insurance is waiting for you to reach out. You can call them at 888-308-1841 or email them info@fbcinsuranceservices.com. I just switched up my car insurance because I got a better deal at FBC Insurance. They were the people to find it. Perfect for new homeowners, especially if you're trying to reshop those current insurance policies. 5-star service, multi-policy, bundled discounts, and they're going to shop every carrier out there to find the best insurance for your house, flood, storm season, auto, motorcycle, boat, recreational vehicle, or just a personal policy. 888-308-1841 or go online, FBCInsuranceServices.com. Another one of our great sponsors in storm season. You have to talk to the good people at Alternate Power Solutions of Georgia. Family owned and operated. They are a Generac generator dealer, founded in 2012. So storm season, power goes out. Who knows when it's coming back on? Don't be that guy or girl that does not have a backup plan and having power for whatever it be, especially medical devices, fans, air conditioning, so on and so forth. Offering sales, service, installation, and repair of automatic home standby and portable generators, every single one of you. When you become a customer at Alternate Power Solutions of Georgia, you get an upgraded warranty, free monitoring, and warranty repair. A+ rating with the BB&B, and you pay nothing until the job is complete. Call or request a free home assessment. You can go to their website, poweringgeorgia.com, or buzz them at 770-853-7571. Use the discount code Bailey, my last name, and get $500 off your entire installation. All right? Servicing Georgia and Tennessee. Again, another great sponsor of the BS podcast that is going to come to your aid here during storm season. And I'm talking about Cliff Bratcher and Jayco Contracting. This one hits home for me because I needed advice from Cliff and Jayco Contracting when my mother got a hole in her roof. Now, Jayco Contracting helping the good folks out in Georgia. And if you're in Georgia, you call him this storm season just to know that you're going to be taken care of when that tree falls through your roof or your shingles come off or a hole somehow appears. years, right? They are a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, licensed and insured roofing and gutter specialists covering all of Georgia. Keep in mind, if you've not gone through this process, Cliff and Jayco Contracting are going to take care of it from start to finish. That means dealing with the insurance companies. That can be a headache and a negotiation, and they're the best to do it. Commercial and residential satisfaction guaranteed. JaycoContracting.com, or 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You give Cliff Bratcher a call at 770-316-3876. Alive Ozone Therapy Spa in Altamont Springs, Florida. This is mine and my wife's wellness spa. If you have an autoimmune, cancer, HIV, just simple biohacking, long COVID, the answer is yes to just about anything that's going on in your body. Most of the time it starts with inflammation, and ozone therapy, it decreases inflammation. So ozone therapy, we are the first and only to do it in Central Florida. That is Alive Ozone Therapy Spa. We also offer red light therapy, halo therapy, pressotherapy, PMF grounding mat, as well as naturally in-house made ozone infused products like the magnesium butter that many of you absolutely love. Ozone therapy, what is it? Quickly, it repairs and rejuvenates your cells to the mitochondrial level by using activated oxygen. Simple as that. No side effects. That's all there is to it. It's a 30-minute session, and you actually burn up to 600 calories when you're in the Hocket sauna. We do it the most non-invasive way. So whether you're in the area or you want to travel, book an appointment, AliveOzoneTherapySpa.com. All the products you can get there as well. And remember, for you two peers, use the discount code BS10 to take that off those online products. If you want to be a sponsor of the show, reach out to me via thebaileyshow.com. And if you are a listener of this podcast and you need any of our great sponsors, please reach out to them. Now, let's begin.
I think we should do a podcast about rock and roll. And that's some stories.
Yeah, let's do it. Welcome to the Vinyl Road Podcast.
All right, there it is, episode 09 of the Vinyl Road Podcast on the BPX, the Bailey Podcast Exchange. 3 different shows, 5 days a week, one feed, jasonbailey.com. Thanks to our title sponsor, Once Upon a Coconut, onceuponacoconut.com. Use the discount code BSPodcast10 to save some Gatises. Yes, Gatises. On the best damn coconut water in the land. Thanks for being here. My name is Jason Bailey. There's the man himself, Brad Stewart. How are you, Brad?
What up? What up? I'm good, man. How you doing, brother?
Good. First and foremost, I must say this to you. Your new Vinyl Road Podcast t-shirt is in the mail, and you should be receiving it any day. So it's
sick.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Yeah, man. I was hoping to have it by this episode so I could wear it, but I got this John Lennon shirt when I was in New York at the Varvatos store down there. I don't know if anyone's familiar with John Varvatos, but is male fashion designer, very rock and roll inspired clothing. He's very proud of his work. I think this t-shirt was like $200, which
Jesus.
The backstory was like, the people in the Varvatos store were like, well, Yoko is very controlling over, of course, anything with John's image on it. So when they did the deal with John Lennon's image on it, of course, they're not allowed to discount the shirts because there was discounts on some of the other shit I bought, right? But the guy was like, I can't do anything with that one per Yoko. Really? Yeah, Yoko ain't having that shit. You ain't putting John's shit on sale, bro. It is however much it is, and that's it.
Is she still alive?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm assuming John Lennon merch. I never thought about that. I'm assuming, Beatles, John Lennon merch, they must make a killing off of the residuals on that.
Oh my God, yeah. They probably did some sort of deal though with like some sort of merch company where they get in advance. They go out and the merch company distributes it, sells it, collects. They take their cut, and then they distribute the rest to the other guys. It's just easier to deal with. I doubt they're hands-on dealing with it, but it sounds like Yoko Ono was hands-on dealing with. Like she knew every piece that went out the door, bro. This she ain't fucking around. Which she's probably. I mean, she's probably been ripped, and I'm sure people pirate the shit too. I mean, when we were going up to the Shinedown show at Madison Square Garden, there were people trying to hustle merch, third party merch, Shinedown merch, like t-shirts and shit. And I was like, it reminded me of that, in the Led Zeppelin movie way back when they put it out. What was it? And Peter Grant's out there and he's fucking with them for selling pirated T-shirts, Led Zeppelin, T-shirts. Peter Grant being the manager of Led Zeppelin, and he was fucking with the promoter, and he's in his face. And Peter Grant was like a former wrestler. You familiar with Peter Grant? He's a big dude. Yeah, he's out there, and that was one of the first times I think in history of rock and roll that the manager, you had to go through the manager to talk to the band, and that manager wasn't letting you fucking talk to the band unless you had a good reason to, or he would bounce your ass out of the building. The dude was freaky. He's scary. He was big old dude, So anyway, it reminded me of that and I was wondering if the band was aware that was going on, because it was several different guys on corners, hey, you want a T-shirt? I'm like, actually, we're going backstage. We know the band. I used to be in the band, motherfucker. I should kick you in the face. But anyway, so
I used to be in the band, motherfucker.
yeah. Quit selling their shit, you fucking asshole.
So you go to New York and you get hit up by a guy trying to sell bootleg Shinedown stuff.
Yeah.
Was that your reply?
I just was kind of taken aback by it, because I was like, wasn't expecting that, I guess, which I should have been expecting it. But I was just kind of like, what the fuck? That still goes on and no one's saying shit to these people about it? Or did Shinedown give them the merch to sell? Hey, you guys could sell it, but it looked like pirated shit. It just, no one was buying it, dude, that I could tell,
Yeah. Well, that happens everywhere. And those cops have something better to do other than to nail them. Numerous shows, especially radio shows, with a big brand, like in Orlando, Earth Day Birthday, you'd be driving in and you'd see these guys with pirated stuff with the Earth Day Birthday logo and all the band logos. Cause that's another thing is, most bands won't allow you, correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, but most bands won't allow you to put their logo on the shirt unless they're getting a cut of that shirt, even if they're playing for a festival. That deal has to be done and all the paperwork that's signed prior to the show, right?
It does. It's like a trademarking thing where you can grant permission without a cut, but it has to be worked out ahead of time, I would imagine, because otherwise now there could be an issue. If you didn't get permission, now it's the band's logo. You're making money off the band's logo, which is on a shirt that they're not participating in that revenue stream from the shirt. So it can get weird, man. I've seen it get weird before. I think we may have even talked about it briefly with certain bands getting upset about it and it becoming an issue, even a legal issue. Obviously it's not going to make or break the band's career off of a T-shirt from one festival, from one radio station. But I think the idea is, generally speaking, across, people just shouldn't be allowed to just take carte blanche, just take their own initiative to use things that aren't theirs, I guess, which, I don't know.
I would assume that when you're coming up with a band logo nowadays, not back in the day, but nowadays, it's the same in the radio world. Like, it's impossible to have a cool radio station T-shirt. Absolutely impossible. The only cool radio station T-shirts are the ones that are nostalgic and most likely probably not around anymore. The Loop in Chicago, made famous by John Cusack and 16 Candles. He was wearing one in the movie, because he was such a fan. And then there was just such basic logos, but now it's retro, it's nostalgic, Same with bands, I'm assuming, right? Is that when you're coming up with a logo, you want not only it to be cool for your fan base, but you want it to be cool on a T-shirt that anybody can wear, like AC/DC, for example. Now, I doubt they came up with, I doubt they're sitting around going, hey, this is going to look great on a T-shirt, but AC/DC is probably one of the coolest band logos that has ever been made because it's so simplistic, right?
It is. It's very, very simple. And you could see it from a mile away.
Right.
If someone's got an AC/DC shirt, you know it from a mile away. There's no mistaking that logo, and they always have it pretty big on the shirt too. So,
All right, top 3 best band logos of all time.
Oh man, best band logos. Damn.
Yeah, just your own opinion. Not just everybody's opinion, but just if you were to pick the top 3 best band logos, because it's most like artists by themselves, their logos kind of suck, right? But band logos, AC/DC's up there, Judas Priest is up there,
Yeah.
um, Van Halen is got to be up there.
Dude, Limp Bizkit on Significant Other, that's from that age that it's almost like a graffitied.
Graffiti, yeah.
That's pretty fucking sick, dude. Korn's kind of cool. It looks, or like, I'm trying to think where, because it's kind of horror movie,
Yeah,
it's kind of like,
I don't like that font. There's another,
Yeah.
there's a newer band, I think a pretty popular band. I don't know their name. I don't think it's whatever Harvest. It could be
Shaman's Harvest.
Yeah, it might be them. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on this. But they're on a lot of these big festivals, right? They're at Rockville, and I think they're at Aftershock. Their logo's fucking horrible. Like you cannot read it on anything. And I don't know which band it is, but if you were to go look through the lineup at Rockville, you'll see all the bands that are noticeable, and then you'll see that, and you'll be like, I can't even read it. I don't even know what it is. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't. There's just so many bands on those festivals that it's like I'm actually scrolling through my phone to see if I could see. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think Saliva's got a pretty cool logo.
I think the star makes the Saliva logo. I like the star and the Saliva logo.
Yeah.
I think Fuel's got a good logo.
Well, Fuel had a like a, what would you call that? Not an emblem, but Shinedown had the SD. It looks like an S and a D together. Fuel, it looks like an F in a circle, but it's a cool looking F. I like when bands do that kind of shit too, that where you're like, okay, you associate that image with the actual name.
Yeah. Metallica, of course, Metallica.
It's hard to beat Metallica with the way the curls, or it looks like it's got horns or something. That's pretty sick.
Def Leppard. I think Def Leppard's got a good logo.
Rob Zombie's got a good one. Yeah.
I'm a big Poison fan, as most people know. I've never loved their logo. I'm not a big fan of the bubbly, swirly tail kind of thing. I like the points and the boldness of the AC/DCs, the Metallicas, the Def Leppards, those types of things. Motley Crue, a good logo, but you got the little dotty dots, the umpty-dumps or whatever they're called. That makes that logo cool.
The umlauts.
Umlauts.
Yeah.
Umlauts.
Yeah. Umlauts.
I find it very hard to believe that the guys in Motley Crue, when they came up with the name Motley Crue, sat around and somebody was like, Tommy Lee was like, dude, you got to put umlauts in there,
But I think he did write it and spell it that way, so it wasn't CREW, it was Crew UE, and then probably somebody at the label was like, let's put the umlauts in there and make it look even more like just different, right?
Well,
there's a story about that. I know there is, because remember Mick Mars was like, they were trying to name the band, he's like, fuck that name, that's a shit name, shit band. He's like, no, let's call it fucking Motley Crue. And they're like, fucking perfect. That's awesome. It's a great name.
Well, have you seen the Dirt? They have whether it's true or not, but there's a portion of the Dirt where they're sitting around like, okay, guys, he's got like this artist pad. He's like, we got to come up with a name for the band, and they start throwing out names, and then quickly it's Motley Crue. I doubt it came about. There's a documentary about Nirvana when Kurt Cobain was trying to come up with a name for Nirvana. And it's kind of like an animation, and he's scribbling and all these things. And one of the names, which I thought was interesting, was Skid Row, that he had put down. I was like, dude, have you not been listening? There's already a band named Skid Row. What are you doing? So
that is strange. I've seen that documentary. I actually own that. I can't remember what it's called though. It's over there somewhere. But that was an interesting piece to kind of get into his mind and his headspace.
Do you remember the
super interesting cat? Yeah.
Do you remember the process of naming Shinedown? Were you a part of that?
Good God. That was a tough process, bro. I mean, we were ready to be named because for the longest time, Steve-O would just write Brent Smith demos on anything that was being distributed to people to listen to this new band, this new project that's happening. So we went through it, we went through a lot of different names, and Steve-O would weigh in on some of this too, right? And he'd be like, what about Blowback? And we're like, Blowback? Fuck no, not Blowback. And then Brent was into Otis Redding and some of these soul singers, and he was like, what about Jones County Shed? And I'm like, now we're a shed? I don't know, dude. That's weird. And then we were Dirt Lab. We were Dirt Lab for a minute there. But no one knew this. It was just kind of internally like spewing shit, you know.
Right.
And then I was like, what about Pabulum or Pablum? You know? And Jason's like, we are Pablum. We are Pablum. And I was like, okay, I get it. Fuck off. And so then one day, and it was like the 11th hour, we had to name the fucking band. And we were in my house, and we had a friend of ours that Brent actually dated back in the day. Her name was Courtney Webb. She had made a painting for my wife and I for our wedding present, right? And we had set it into this kind of, I guess you'd call it, not an alcove, but like just this place that was recessed in the wall. And I was showing Brent the painting, where we put it and stuff. And he was like, I think it'd be cool if you had like a light shining down on the painting. And I was like, huh, yeah, it would be. And I kind of went into my room and into the bathroom, and I was using the bathroom, and I'm like, what about shining down? It kind of had like a thing, and I'd never heard a band. So I walked back out and I said, hey man, what about for a band name, Shining Down? And he goes, what about Shine Down? Just take the shine or the ing part and just shine down, but make it one word. And he was like, I actually like that because I think people can chant it. Shine down, shit like that. So we ran it up the flagpole, and that's what the name became, right there in my fucking living room. I mean, that was 2001 maybe, or 2002 maybe.
And the girl who was the inspiration for Shinedown, who painted this picture for you for your wedding, is probably sitting here right now going, where the fuck are my residuals?
Well, but she didn't. She made the painting though. She didn't make the name, but it did inspire the name. Now she's not listening. Trust me. No, I was just kidding. No, love Courtney. We still keep in contact with her. She moved to North Carolina. She's awesome. I don't know if she still paints, but she was also very creative as far as.
So you have this painting in your house still?
We still do have the painting. Yeah.
I mean, that's that's kind of a cool thing. I know you guys don't recognize this kind of stuff, but from the fan perspective, Shinedown, as big as they've become over the years, they were named that. They are known by that. They are branded that, all based off of this painting that is in your house. And the idea that you had while taking a piss, then, Brent kind of Justin Timberlake social network it, lose the Facebook.
How about just Facebook?
Yeah. Facebook, and those are always cool stories that, whether people know or not, are really cool. Now, I think we've had this conversation, not on this podcast, but previously. There is the rumor that the name Shinedown came from the Collective Soul song, because Steve-O with Atlantic, responsible for launching you guys, also responsible for launching Collective Soul.
Yes.
And I can tell you that those guys, great guys, by the way, are not going to buy your story.
That's how it happened, though, I swear. Because, we had heard that later, and I was like, oh, yeah, Heaven Let Your Light Shine Down. Okay, I get it. And they were also on Atlantic. Yeah. They did very successful. I think they sold a diamond record on that record, like 10 million. They sold a lot of fucking
hugely
records,
like they are.
But that is not where it came from. I mean, you could obviously make the association, but I can tell you that is not where we got it from. But I mean, that song is a big song. I mean, no doubt. And of course, like you said, same label, same guy that was responsible for each band. Maybe it was subconsciously, but I don't know. It just happened in my house at the time we needed a name, and we searched, the copyrights and the trademarks for that, and there was like some religious things, Shinedown Ministries, and there was some churches or some shit, but there was no band that we had to like buy that from or had to get out from under it. So I was like, it kind of felt like a sign that was what it was supposed to be, because it wasn't already taken or used by someone else necessarily, that in our realm,
Yeah. Well, also the name Wasteland was thrown out there at one time, right?
Well, Wasteland was the song that became Save Me by,
Oh, that's right. It
by
was, yeah.
Blasphemy in My Wasteland, which was also a 10 years song, was Wasteland too. So we didn't want to call the song Wasteland because, Brent and 10 years are both from Knoxville and they're friends, but we didn't want to, we wanted to call it something else. So it became Save Me. But there is the line, of course, in the chorus that's
Because there's
called
a band
Wasteland.
called Wasteland that was
Oh,
a baby band in the 2000s that came
okay.
out. And I remember having a conversation with Brent about that. I don't know if he told me or I heard it from somewhere else. And he explained that whole, story back and forth. It's all incestual and accidental and oopsie daisy and coincidental, all these different things. But, I've always said that if I ever could or did write a book about certain things in the music industry, the first and foremost I'd want to do / documentary is a doc or a book on where are all these women that these famous songs about them, where are they at now, and what's the whole story behind them. I would love to talk to Bret Michaels' ex-girlfriend from back in the 80s that he wrote Every Rose Has Its Thorn about. I would love to talk to Michelle from GNR's My Michelle.
What would you ask them though? I mean, what would you want to know? I mean, because it probably didn't end well. It never really does,
That's
so.
part
But
of the
do you
story.
think they would trash them, or I mean, you just kind of want to know where their head was at when it happened? Did it blow up their ego? Did it make them feel
No,
special, or were they embarrassed? I mean, how did they feel about it? Right?
I think the big question I'd want an answer to, because I think about this often every time I hear these certain songs, like even Hey There Delilah, I mean, I know she's still around and they were
She's
friends.
in New York City.
She's in New York City, right?
Is she still in New York? Well, fuck, we don't know.
But
Maybe.
you have a song that was written about you that became a huge hit and has lived for decades. So you get in your car and there's a chance at some point in time, you're going to hear that song about you. You have no choice but to go back to that time, whether good or bad, and think about it. To me, that's interesting. I want to know how that makes you feel on a daily basis. I also want to know if you got any money for it. I want to
I'm
know.
going to say probably not, because when Fred wrote Nookie, I know exactly who that's about. And she didn't get shit. I think she may have tried though. I think she was like, "Hey, how about a little something for the inspiration, motherfucker?" And I don't think he paid her much. Maybe there's some funds flowing that way that I don't know about it, but I'm pretty sure she didn't get any. I mean, compared to what the song made, especially as far as God knows how much that song generated. But I mean, I'm pretty sure she didn't get any of that money. So,
But I bet she brags about it quite often.
no, I don't know, man. I ran into her at a show. I think it was God, who are we seeing? Maybe Live in Bush. I think she was at that one. Or no, I think it was Alanis Morissette here at Daly's in Jacksonville. And I ran into her and I was like, she looked great. I mean, a big hug and everything. But I just remember that situation deteriorating and not, because he dated her for quite some time. And then when he started doing the band thing, apparently she strayed. Of course, you just listen to the lyrics and you'll know the story.
Yeah.
But he did it all for the Nookie. He's claiming, pretty sure it wasn't just about the Nookie.
And there's a lot of songs that people think that they're about them or somebody they know, and they just believe that for the rest of days. I'll give you an example. Bush is one of my all-time favorite bands as well. I've told the story about Gavin Rossdale, and he's like my rock star crush. And the first time I interviewed him, I just absolutely blew it and was not myself because I was so smitten with the guy. I mean, it was the weirdest thing, but the guy is a complete fucking rock star, not arrogant, just the aura about Gavin Rossdale is just something else. Anyway, so this was 2013-ish, doing a gig at the Tabernacle in Atlanta, Georgia. Yep. I'd gotten a call from a guy in corporate at the time, and he's, that knows all these guys, he's close with all of them. He's like, "Hey, I'm going down to the Tabernacle. Going to see Bush. I know you're a fan. You want to come and hang out with me and hang out with Gavin?" Yes. So, I mean, literally jumped in my car, dealt with traffic, got down there. we're backstage, and this is when he had his little dog. I think Chewy, I believe his name was, was still alive.
Yeah.
And he's playing with the dog, and we're talking and this and this and that and doing the whole thing. It was just us. It was like four, me and my wife, his dog, Gavin, and this guy with the company. And then he's like, hey, we'll come up on stage and just watch the set. Tabernacle used to be a house of blues. So about 2,200 seat venue.
Yeah.
Very intimate. So we're on side stage. And I mean, I can't go to a Bush concert without being a complete fan. I mean, just knowing every word to every song, banging my head, jumping up. I mean, I'm just such a mark. He's doing, and then there's a couple other people around us. There's this one woman in particular, short, dark hair, completely tatted up. She knew Gavin well. I don't know what the relationship was, but it looked like, I mean, she was much younger. It looked like I was kind of overheard some of the conversation that there was a mutual party between the two, and that party's no longer here. And so he does Machine Head, and she's bawling, and I'm got a machine head. I don't even know what the song's about. And she was standing right next to me, and I say to her, I go, "Are you okay?" She goes, "Yeah, that song's about my brother." And I was like, "Oh, really? I had no idea. I'm so sorry." And she goes, "No, it's okay. Every time I hear it, I get emotional." Understood. Fast forward a couple years later, I have Gavin on one of my shows. I bring it up, and he's like, "No, that's not the case at all. I don't know. I don't even know who you're talking about."
Oh man.
So this
Yeah.
girl thinks it's about her brother who's no longer here, which, bless her heart, that's great. But Gavin's like, I guess take the song and make it your own, right? I mean,
I think that's a better way to interpret songs than to actually know, because then if you know, you might be bummed out.
Yeah.
If you actually know what it's about, then your version in your head about what it's about and how it affects you and how you internalized it is now ruined, because you now know what it is about, and you're like, oh man, I thought it was about this. But some people, they have to know what it's about. Some people have to know which exact person or what exact situation it's about, and a lot of artists don't want to divulge that. They want to leave it open to interpretation. I think that's the healthiest way, is to leave it open to interpretation. But I mean, some guys will say, or at least generally say, what the gist of the song is about.
Yeah. Last time we released an episode, because of when we record, it was right after the death of Ozzy Osbourne. So, I mean, this is podcasting world, right? So we had done the episode. Right afterwards, Ozzy passes away. I text Brad. I'm like, what the shit? Like we have all these days to go. Then the episode, which is released on Fridays, of Ozzy talk on the internet and the media, and we just totally missed it because we recorded early. Now we could have re-recorded, but we didn't. So let's discuss the passing of the Prince of Darkness. Now, Ozzy Osbourne, which, it's no shock that he passed away. He lived a great life. He is metal. There's no doubt about it. But from an artist standpoint, you've seen a lot of friends come and go. You've seen your idols and people that you admire come and go. Does it hit you as an artist differently when you see the passing of Ozzy Osbourne than probably maybe just a fan?
It does, man, because I think Ozzy, he transcended even the music business. I mean, let's face it, the Osbournes was a pivotal point in television too. You kind of got to know Ozzy, not up on stage being crazy or biting heads off bats, doing the snorting the ants thing. I mean, which was all great stories, and with his time with Motley Crue, their time with when they Metallica opened for him, and God only knows however other many bands open for him. But when you actually saw him, and I watched the Osbournes Want to Believe too. I think we talked about that show. Did you ever watch that? And my wife and I, we watch like all their shows, and I felt like I knew him kind of, just because, and I never really, unfortunately, I never really got to be around the guy. But I knew people that were directly, would work, like Bob Marlette, of course, who produced Shine Down First Record, Seether, Saliva stuff, all that. He worked with Ozzy, and he would tell us stories. So, just you have all these ways of, kind of just feeding your idea and your connection to this legendary dude. There's just this, I mean, he's a juggernaut. He's like you said, he was metal. Like without Ozzy and without Sabbath, there would be no uh, Lamb of God or Soundgarden or Metallica or Slayer. I mean, that started so many people like not ripped it off, but it just created like the doom part of it, just the heaviness and what he was singing about. And I think it's just the legacy he left behind. I mean, I'm looking now on the internet and on socials, and like everything is a tribute to Ozzy. It's all over the place. There's a station here in town. All they're doing is playing Ozzy songs or Black Sabbath, and it's a big loss, man. I mean, and it's hard, I think, on people. I remember I saw Youngblood had made a post. I don't know if you saw it, and I was like, I got teared up, dude. Like after I it was a everyone should read his post. It's like fuck, it's gut wrenching, man.
On the BS, we had my buddy Bully Ray, aka Bubba Ray Dudley, and we were talking about Ozzy. He's a big, metal guy. Bubba is, and I brought up this Youngblood guy numerous times. I know he's a thing and he's a big deal, but I wasn't familiar with him. And Bubba was like, I don't know who the fuck Youngblood is at this point in time. I don't give a shit who Youngblood fucking is. I have no desire. But watching that video of him bend the knee to Ozzy Osbourne, the one where he gives him the necklace.
Yes.
He's like, I'm a fan.
Yes.
Because of the respect. And so I started following Youngblood. Of course, his version of changes that he did to back to the beginning was just absolutely amazing.
Sick.
And so heartfelt and so into the moment. I started following Youngblood on social media. This dude is cool. Like,
he's awesome.
If he doesn't become the next big thing internationally, I like, he could possibly be the savior to rock and roll.
He could.
As far as a guy of that Ozzy, Freddie Mercury type of status. We don't really have that right now. When we start to get the patriarch of rock and roll, the face of rock and roll, they get dinged down a couple notches, i.e. Dave Grohl, right? I mean, it was Dave Grohl everywhere. He was America's best friend. He was a rock star. He was approachable. He was nice. He was great. He was cool. Oh, you knocked up another woman and cheated on your wife and family. Dave Grohl disappears. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Taylor Hawkins passing too. There was a couple blows to that camp. I mean, obviously the main one being him,
Well, as far as the public eye, I mean,
exactly.
Nobody's blaming him for Taylor's passing. But my point is that when we start to get a guy that can lead the charge in the rock world, they get dinged down by their own fault. And then, nowadays, once something like that happens with the internet and the way that society thinks, they don't give a shit about anything else. You're no longer that guy anymore. So this Youngblood dude seems like just cool. Like, he's legit. He's fighting for lower ticket prices, doesn't give a shit about the money. He just wants to play rock and roll, and he loves his fans. You see him walking out on the streets and somebody stops him. He stops, talk. Not only does he take pictures and stuff, but he talks to these people. Yeah. Which is, I mean, like, he's like, how are you? What is your name? What do you do? Like, every single one. And it's not just from his social media. It's from a million different social medias that have video of this guy. Like,
and you see him interacting with Ozzy and Sharon backstage. And you said, with him giving, and Ozzy's like, I saw a younger me. Like, he saw a younger Ozzy in him. He's like, that felt like I was looking at myself, but a younger version of myself. And I was just like, wow, dude, that was another thing. Like, that whole interaction is like, that was so deep and just cool to witness. I'm so glad they captured that whole interaction. And I think when I first heard Youngblood, I want to say it was that song Fleabag. Are you familiar? They were spinning that here in Jacksonville. I was like, this is, you could tell the guy could sing his ass off, but I'm like, it was so like in your face, but it was so memorable and unique but then I didn't really hear much about him. I don't know what happened, or maybe it was a timing thing. But then once the changes thing happened and you started putting the pieces together, and now you have a guy that's, he's in with Ozzy, and he's respected. And then when he did that song, I think it really struck a nerve with people. And it only takes one thing like that to, like you said, now everybody's paying attention. My wife was listening to him too before any of this. And we bought the record, the vinyl, copy and everything. So yeah, we're on board too, man. He might save rock and roll. I mean, like you said, I mean, I kind of think that we need someone like that as the new poster child, to sort of.
I have a feeling the advice, somebody's giving him this advice in his camp, and I hope he does not listen to it. That is because he has not conquered America yet. I mean, there's a video about him, I think, talking with Ozzy, saying, you got to go to America. And he says, well, that's the plan. So in America, Youngblood in the UK is huge. In America, not so much yet. But because now everybody knows Youngblood from back to the beginning and him doing changes, somebody's telling him release changes as a single. To me, that is the kiss of death for any artist and band, to have your first hit a cover. It is think about bands where their first and only big hit was not an original. So that means that they not only don't have an original to, rest their head on, but they're also paying residuals on that. You look at the Ataris, you look at Authority Zero, these types of bands, they're known for somebody else's song, unless you're a diehard purist fan. And it's not a knock to those two bands, because I like both of them. But if Youngblood comes to America and everybody knows him from doing changes, I don't think that's a good thing.
I think it could go either way, man, because whether he likes it or not, or whether people like it or not, he's always going to be directly connected to that song. I mean, he even said on his post about when Ozzy passed, he was like, I vow to play that song every night of my life for the rest of my life. So either way, he's going to be playing that song. So, and hopefully he has other material and stuff, to back it up after the fact, because that can happen too. You could get big on a cover, but then you could still, put out, quality music that becomes just as popular, if not better or bigger. I mean, maybe not, but I mean, I think he's got more talent than that, though. I don't see him as a one-hit wonder or a one-trick pony. I mean, he's a good singer, dude, and he sings from the guts. He's heartfelt, and he writes. I mean, the lyrics are, but he's different. That one song's 11 minutes long, on the record. That's like he's not playing by anybody's rules either. He's got guts, dude. I got faith in him, honestly, and I think he's got a team behind him. I'm pretty sure the right decisions will be made. I mean, if nothing else, they should just let that version of the song get its own life and keep its own legs. It's already a thing. It's already a hit. I mean, without them making a new recording of it and making it a hit, I think if they just use that live version as, getting people aware of his other music, it's going to help him. I think. I don't know.
Can you think of another band that they, on their first single, released a cover and then had success afterwards? Just off the top of your head, probably not, right?
I mean, Ant Farm was probably, some people could say that they did the Michael Jackson song, and those guys are my friends.
Yeah, but I mean, hold on, listen to what I'm saying. What afterwards?
Oh,
there was
who made bigger hits besides the cover?
No. I'm saying is their first single as a band was a cover, and then had success afterwards with another song that became bigger than that song. So
that was their own song.
Yeah, that was their own song. Alien Ant Farm is known, and I love them too. And their version of Smooth Criminal, arguably, I don't want to say better than Michael's, but if you're going to take a song, make it your own, and make it stand in its own bubble, they did it. I mean, that's very difficult to do. But their follow-up, people know Alien Ant Farm outside of the purist for Smooth Criminal. People know Authority Zero for Mexican Radio. People know the Ataris for Don Henley.
Donna, yeah.
What I'm
Boys of Summer. Yeah.
Boys of Summer. They just changed it from, to Black Flag on the sticker, So like, Biscuit in the middle, in the middle of their success, they released Behind Blue Eyes from the Who.
But they did Faith, though. They did Faith. And that was their third single. That was their third single, but still they followed that shit right up with Nookie, dude. And it was that's what's catapulted them, dude.
Yeah, but
it wasn't their first one. It was on their first record, though. I don't know. I get what you're saying. I do. I think bands could do covers as long as it's done strategically, but but Youngblood's released singles. So Changes wouldn't be his first single anyway. Like I said, Fleabag, I heard Fleabag on the radio here. I mean, that was, and I'm sure he's had a couple more, right? We should look it up.
But are they hits? So what I'm saying is,
modest hits. I mean, you talking like everybody knows it? It's a top 40 radio hit type hit? Or are you just saying like
my point is a band does not want to be known as the band with their biggest hits is someone else's song. That's what I'm saying.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I can see that, man. Because you wouldn't be known for the songs you write and your sound and
Knocking on Heaven's Door by Guns N' Roses. I mean, Guns N' Roses, a ton of Beatles influence, and all of their work, especially the Use Your Illusion stuff, but Appetite was all them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you just can't, you're always going to go back to Welcome to the Jungle and definitely Sweet Child O' Mine. I mean, dude, Sweet Child O' Mine is such a great song in every aspect that you can take it and play it in any type of format and it's still not good. It's fucking awesome. Like you can have kids, and I've seen this, like in an elementary school, hitting on their little toy instruments, singing Sweet Child O' Mine, and it works, right? That's crazy that you can take that. I saw a video with Ozzy, Kelly, and Jack, and they walked into some type of auditorium, and it was a bunch of kids, and they were doing War Pigs Crazy Train. They're doing Crazy Train, and they had, it was like 100 of these kids, and they were playing. It was their percussionists, and they're doing it, and Ozzy was just besides himself, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness. And this was when he was in better health, but it looked like it was still not that long ago, and going, I'm trying to think what he's thinking. And he's going, if I go back to the beginning, when I wanted to be a rock star, I wanted to be rebellious, fuck the system. And now I'm sitting in an auditorium full of kids that are extremely talented playing my song when I'm supposed to be the bad guy. I'm supposed to be the monster to the kids. We've had this conversation before of hearing certain bands that have always had that edge, that feel, and you're walking to the grocery store and you're like, the fuck is that Metallica in the egg section? So fucking weird, right? And it's odd. It's just weird. It takes away the rebellious factor when you hear Metallica or Limp Bizkit at the grocery store. It's weird. It's weird to me.
It made it onto the music. The easy listening. Yeah, it's a little strange, but that's what it's become though. I mean, if you think about it, like we were talking about the 80s bands that were supposed to be dangerous, like some of the hair metal stuff. And then now you're like listening to it at the grocery store or in the elevator. And you're like, I remember when those guys were like every mother's worst nightmare. Like, oh, my daughter likes this new thing where guys spray Aquanet in their hair and sing about chicks and whatever it is, and and they have tattoos and none of them had like face tattoos or neck tattoos, but they were like very pretty guys out there doing their thing and cherry pie and all this shit, singing about yeah. So yeah.
Say what you want about, hold on, say what you want about Warren, but Jani Lane was a very good songwriter.
Okay.
After he got past the record label bullshit of cherry pies and stuff like that. Sure. You listen to Scene Red or Uncle Tom's Cabin. Those songs were good, like well-written songs. And there were some deep cuts of Warrant that never made the light of day. But the industry, you have to supply the candy-coated song for the label that they know it's going to hit, the formatic song. Jani Lane was the stuff that he, look, I'm a fan. I like Jani Lane.
No, it was good. He's a good storyteller, I thought. Definitely like Uncle Tom's Cabin. Definitely like I enjoy a writer that can tell a story. You can put your
Heaven is a phenomenal song.
It is. No, it is. It's tough though. Like you said, it's almost worse than having a cover as your first single when you have Cherry Pie as your first single, because now are people going to take you seriously for your other like more deeper, like sort of heartfelt songs that aren't about cherry pie? We all know what that was about. Anyway, And then the video and just the way they look, and it's all, it's a certain way, and whether they hated it or not, they signed the deal, and the label, but they own they own you, man, and that's what they wanted to put out. Even if the band completely refused or hated it, that's what they put out. You see what happened,
Yeah, well, in
It's
those days, the format of release was hard ballad. It was always a hard song, then it was a ballad. It was 18 in Life, which was kind of it was kind of different actually, but it was still considered hard, I think, and then I Remember You, so it's
that monkey business. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it. I mean, it kind of stays that way. I mean, we came out with Fly from the Inside first, and then it was 45, which wasn't I guess you could call it a ballad, but it's very dark. It was just, it was a slower, I mean, as far as the tempo goes, but I mean,
well, there's very few ballads nowadays.
Puddle of Mud did Control, and then Blurry. I get it. I mean, and it's still, I'd say it's still kind of that way. You want to come hard with the first single, and maybe even the second single, and then third single. I don't know. Nowadays, you might not get that second single, so you almost have to put Cherry Pie out first, whether you like it or not. I mean,
do you think that there will ever, coming from a guy that's in the music industry, do you think that there'll ever be another Ozzy Osbourne?
Unless it's Youngblood, I don't think so, man. I don't see one right now in the present state, and I think Youngblood still has some development as an artist to become anywhere in the realm of the conversation of being the next Ozzy. I mean, I don't see anyone taking over the reins. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. He was such an icon and such a just, you think of how many songs and just his life and what he's contributed to not only music, just to, I mean, to people's lives. I mean, that's a tough one, man.
Because it's more than the music. It's the persona, it's the rebellious factor, it's the what you represent. And unfortunately, in this day and age, you can't do a lot of things that he did to create that persona. So I agree. I don't think, unless you do it differently, that there's ever going to be another, as a whole, Ozzy Osbourne.
No.
Yeah. I don't think you can. I don't, the world won't allow it. You know what I mean? Like you guys have to have some form of politically correctness in order to make money. Nobody's going to want to work with somebody that's biting heads off bats and snorting ants.
Well, I mean, I think if there already was going to be a replacement, or if there would ever be a replacement, I think that person's probably already gone and passed away.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If that person did exist, he's done, and Ozzy just outlived a lot of those guys,
because people, the problem with rock and roll now, and the idea that it's a dying format, is that rock and roll was always built on being rebellious and fighting the man. And so as society has changed and there's been all these rules implemented, rock is no longer the rebellious format. If any,
the rappers took that over, I thought rappers are
rapping. And then I think now country, right? Because rap, but here's the kicker: is in order to be rebellious now, it's not necessarily your actions. It's not throwing a microphone into the stands. It's not chugging a bottle of Jack Daniels on stage. It's about like a political view, or getting caught cheating, or getting caught on camera saying the N-word. That's that now is the equivalent of biting a head off a bat or snorting ants, which, by the way, sucks because they're nowhere in the same world. They should be compared to each other, but that's where we're at now. So you guys are terrified. If you fuck it up, there's no sponsorship, there's no tour, there's no money, there's no album deal. Your record label drops you. They don't want to deal with you because there's somebody right behind you, because everybody's expendable now more than ever. Tell me I'm wrong. Am I right on all that?
I think you're pretty dead on that, man. I mean, it's no one wants to take the risk because the stakes are too high, and it's too easy just to dispose of said person, artist, rapper, if you fuck it up. If you're fucking up, then, like you said, okay, next in line, they're done. Bring them in. Let's make this next take that budget and put it with that, this new artist, this other artist. because this one, I mean, like you said, we already mentioned the Dave Grohl thing. I mean, he had built such a legacy on being the good guy and grilling food for the homeless and barbecuing and he was the drummer and one of the biggest bands of all time. And then he made his own band and
Yeah.
was one of the biggest bands of all time. And then that mistake that he made, I mean, that was a big mistake. And then it just spread, and he had to just kind of just go away
You know
from
what's
from
you know what's
everything, like
you know what's crazy about Grohl knocking up somebody that's not his wife and just getting destroyed over it is that the guy unsolicitedly goes on social media and lets everybody know, like before somebody found out about it, or he Letterman'd it, right? He, like Letterman admitted having the relationship with the intern, which that's how you do it. You nip it in the bud. Like nobody ever, even though it was wrong, obviously, no one ever gave him the credit of going, I appreciate you being honest, man. It's a lose-lose situation. The dude came out and said, hey, look, I have a baby with another woman, not my wife. I'm going to take care of the kid. I'm going to take care of her. It was something that happened. I'm just letting you guys know. Here it is. Like nobody, I never saw anybody go, man, that's not cool, dude. But I appreciate you coming out and being honest and being a man about it and telling people.
he cleared the air before anyone could
Yeah, that's how you do it.
I mean, that was big of him to do that. I just remember sitting there going, like, I can't imagine the hell that dude is in right now, dude. Good Lord. That's a tough situation, man. I mean, especially on so many levels, it's tough. Right at home, it's tough, obviously. But beyond that, I mean, it's very tough, dude.
If I were to guess, of course, his wife Jordan was extremely upset and shocked.
Yeah.
But I highly doubt that she was overly surprised. Let's just put it that way. So I've got some mutual friends, but I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. See, yeah, I'm not really into that circle of.
And I've seen stuff with my own two eyes. So it's just it's rock star shit, I mean, I guess that's what it is. It is what it is. Now, I'm not saying y'all do it. Everybody does it. I'm just saying, there's whatever.
And you ain't got to be a rock star to do dumb shit like that either. I mean,
no.
Normal everyday people make mistakes like that. I mean, it just doesn't.
But normal everyday
evening news, though, it doesn't make the evening news either. If you do.
But normal everyday people don't travel the world and have women throwing themselves at you on a daily basis either.
This is true.
I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm just saying there is a difference between the two. Anyway, closing up the Ozzy stuff. There's never going to be another Ozzy. There's no doubt about it. Music, persona, character, television. I mean, just
even down to the sound of his voice. Like you listen to his voice and it's undeniably, it's unique.
Yeah.
Just the way it sounds, nobody sounds like him. And his delivery, the way his choices, the way the melodies going in and out of the, I mean, it's something that's very special, obviously, or it wouldn't have affected so many people. I mean, it just has his whole, everything about him has affected the world. And now he's gone, it's.
What's interesting about Ozzy's voice is that, if you're a British singer, a lot of times it's hard to tell, where somebody's from based off of their voice. Sometimes it's hard to even tell what gender they are. You look at, look at Wheatus, right? I mean, who knew? And so, but Ozzy, even being from the UK, since you said that, I'm thinking about, like, I never listened to Ozzy or Sabbath and was like, oh, this is a British singer.
Does it sound at all like a British person or
right.
an English person? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I never even took that into consideration because that will be a roadblock for certain people. Right. I mean, you listen to a K-pop band from Asia or whatever. You're like, I don't want to hear these guys try to butcher the English language. You know what I mean? So Youngblood, he sounds British when he sings.
He does.
The Beatles sounded British when they sang. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ozzy didn't, it's actually pretty interesting. He just didn't.
Yeah. And you think about how he talks too. Like, I mean, it's almost hard to understand what he's saying a lot of the time. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of stuttering around, and then the way he puts the sentences together, it's very. Was he from? Wasn't he from Birmingham? No, he was from. Where is he
It's a
from?
small town, right?
It's from where the Titanic, Liverpool. No, that's where the Beatles are from. I thought it was Birmingham. Anyway, like, but
Wherever
people
they had the
say,
concert was where he's from.
yeah.
Yeah.
But people say that people from that town, they all sound like that. But then when he goes to sing,
Really?
yeah, they all sound like that. You could barely understand. It was like going to Scotland, and you're like, I'm pretty sure that was English, but you have to really like dissect it and slow it down because the way they're putting they're in
Marston Green. He was born in Marston Green, England, and grew up in Aston, Birmingham, England.
Birmingham. Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
I was kind of right.
Not Alabama. England.
No, exactly.
So
Big difference.
You're trying to tell me that there's an entire city in England that talks like Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes. They're like, if people from there, they sound just like that.
Shut the fuck up. That's
crazy. Yeah.
I never.
Because I was like, people always like, well, you know, they thought it was just like an anomaly. That's just how he talked, and it was like, no. He even said, I think that people they talk like that.
It's
People
like
from
that
this town. They all sound like that.
It's like that SNL skit where they had Jim Carrey on, and it was this entire family, and they're all talking like Jim Carrey, and they're, or Adam Sandler, the bit, it's like, hi, how are you today, cousin Jim? And then Adam Sandler's family, when they did the bit, I think they did one with Adam, and they're like, what did it do? Scooby-Doo, and then my mom, my cousin Adam, that kind of thing. And so you go to where Ozzy's from, they're like, and that's another thing is, can you think of another artist? I mean, there's numerous ones, but can you think of another artist that when you say what they have said, you talk like them? You know what I mean? There's plenty of them, and they're always the ones that are huge. Elvis, Dylan, right? You don't do that with Paul McCartney. Like, oh, I saw Paul McCartney when Paul McCartney and Ozzy met for the first time, and Ozzy bows down to Paul McCartney. You don't go, yeah, Ozzy was like, oh, you're my hero. And then Paul McCartney was like, oh, Mike, that's great. You don't do that. You just do Ozzy. You don't do Paul.
Yeah.
Just Ozzy. Yeah. Elvis, like, hey, Bob Dylan, you're like, hey, baba, hey,
Eddie Vedder.
Yeah, Eddie, hey, those kinds of things. It's funny, right? It's funny.
I watched Happy Gilmore 2 last night. I did.
Oh, it's great. Is it not great?
I liked it, man. I mean, I thought it was one of his. It's an Adam Sandler movie at the end of the day. Of course, it's kind of like it's the same kind of story.
Yeah.
It's just the way it's like an SNL fucking thing. You know what I mean? But it was good. He had some surprise, a couple surprises in there, and some really good moments in there for sure. Definitely, man.
Oh, I thought it was phenomenal. Yeah. And if of course, people are going to hate on it. Adam's look, okay. So take Adam Sandler, for example, in his career.
Yeah.
A lot like Ozzy. And you're great when this happens, right? You're not great unless you have somebody hating on you. You're just not. You have to have haters because that's just how the world works. Adam Sandler he starts with Remote Control and MTV, and then, SNL, and then goes into movies, you're Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison and all these goofy ass movies, Little Nicky, and just absolutely absurd, goofy ass movies. But they all had a theme, right? I mean, he would have his friends in there, and they were very simplistic. There were a lot of throwback, a lot of 80s references. You knew it was an Adam Sandler movie, goofy humor, typical Adam Sandler. You knew what you were getting.
Sure.
And as the 90s progressed, Adam Sandler, blah, you get into the 2000s, he's like the Backstreet Boys or Nickelback. He's made fun of. He wasn't funny. You can't go rewatch it for a new generation. For me, still could do it. Still thought it was funny because I got it. Then he kind of takes a break, right? Then the streaming services come about. He starts to do these different shows on streaming that weren't typical Adam Sandler stuff, engaging in a different audience, getting a different type of respect, and kind of reinventing himself. And then, so now everybody knows who Adam Sandler is. Then he goes back to do Happy Gilmore 2, and people are hating on it. The ones that are hating on the movie, it's you. It's not him. You just don't get it. You don't understand that it's a nostalgia film. It's not made for your 22-year-old punk ass. It's not
Yeah.
for you. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not for today's whatever, your attention span of 7 seconds of humor and TikTok is. It's
No.
not for you.
Mm-mm.
It's for the people that grew up with Adam Sandler.
It's for
That-
people
and
like
it
me
was
and you,
like
basically.
you and I,
Our
absolutely.
generation, for
Our
sure.
generation. Yeah. You want a couple questions before we get out? One of these days we'll get to your conspiracy. Let me tell the audience something. Okay. This podcast, the way that we frame it, it's about rock and roll. It's about stories from the road with Brad. It's now, some of you want to hear my stories with different interviews with different people. If you're not listening to my other podcast, I'm cool to share it on this. That's cool. Whatever. Brad doesn't want to really focus on any of those things. Brad wants to talk about conspiracy theories. I love conspiracy theories. I love them, but we get so wrapped up in the conversation, and I don't want the podcast to go too long. So he sends me this article about this guy that is missing because he invented a way to turn plastic into fuel. His name's Julian Brown, and he's the inventor of Plastoline, and he's been missing for a couple weeks now. And it's this whole conspiracy and this Facebook thing. It's like a thing online. And he didn't give me any context when he sent it. And I replied back, well, what the fuck is this? And Brad's just like, conspiracy theory. We got to talk about this. We got to figure this out.
Well, someone had tagged me in it. I think one of the vinyl roadies, Kim, she tagged me in it. And I just find things like that fascinating, man.
Fascinating. I agree.
I mean, I feel like it's, there's definitely a system in place that does not want that kind of technology out there because the entire world is based on that old school oil fossil fuel system, So if you have a way, first of all, plastics, the has pretty much ruined the planet. I mean, you think of all the water bottles in the ocean and it's sickening, just like shit like that. But what if you could take that plastic and now turn it into fuel to run your car? There's plenty of plastic out there and it's pretty cheap, dude. You know what I'm saying? So they don't want that though. It's just like free energy.
But who's they?
The machine.
The machine. Yes,
I mean, the people that are in charge of running shit, the committee of 300, the people like the billionaires and the Rothschilds and all the people that control the money, the Fed, all those people do not want that because they're heavily invested. If they can't control that shit and they can't monetize it for themselves and run it, if they can't control it like they do the oil and the price of oil and how we use the oil,
I understand.
They do not want it.
But they're not going out making this guy missing. So
how do you know that, bro? I mean, come on, man. I mean, it'd be very easy for them to be like, "Oh, I don't know what happened. A car kind of just banged into him, and he went flying off the fucking freeway."
Hold on,
shit happens, bro. If you don't believe that, man, come on.
Hold on, you're not understanding what I'm saying.
Okay,
I'm saying is the CEO of Fill in the Blank Corporation is not going out and making that guy missing. Okay. And he's definitely not going to be on camera or on paper saying this guy needs to go missing. So when you talk about conspiracy theories, you can easily point the finger at the boss, but he's not the guy that's doing the dirty work. So the real cool, fun conversations, because that's what everybody does. They point the finger at the guy that they know that's in charge, but nobody ever goes, who is the hit squad? Like, so the other conversation and if you really want to get into conspiracy theories, because I've been talking about these for decades, is you start to find out who the people are that make the people go missing. Mm-hmm. Who are the people that make the car accidents? Who are the people that pull the trigger? Who are the people that brainwash the guy to pull the trigger? Those people are phantoms, right? So conspiracy theories, people think that they're black and white, A and B. Kennedy was not shot the way that everybody thinks it was. 3 different conspiracies, 4, 5, 6 different conspiracies, blah, blah, blah. That one, has its own mind of its own. But then you go, well, who was the one that made it happen? And then who does he talk to that makes the bad stuff happen? Because he's not calling them up. Lyndon B. Johnson, if that's your conspiracy theory, is not calling up the bad guy and saying, hey, look, you need to go do this. Lyndon B. Johnson's doing one of those things to another guy that says, it'd probably be best if this happened. Mm-hmm. And then that guy goes to that guy.
But they were certain 3-letter organizations. The CIA
Sure.
dealt with the mafia,
Sure.
dealt with people, and the mafia has henchmen, nameless henchmen that will carry out whatever they need to be carried out, and it will be anonymous, and they'll handle the hit. They have hitmen. It happens to on the from the lowest level to the highest level. It doesn't matter who you are.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's the conversation when you talk conspiracy, is
But
who's.
you'll never know. I mean, who are those guys? I mean,
I don't know. That's like,
you know,
it could be your next door neighbor. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I knew a girl in college, and her brother was in the military. All right. And right before the first Gulf War, she came to my room and she's crying. I said, "What's going on? You okay?" She goes, "My brother just made the call." I said, "What does that mean?" She goes, "We never know what he's going to do or where he's going to go. But we do know that he's in the military and he can't tell us anything.
Mhm.
So he says the same thing every time. I just got to go." And this was like a week prior to the Gulf War. So he was there, one of the first people, obviously, to be there. And I remember talking to her about it. I'm like, "How often does this happen?" She's like, "Oh, I couldn't even tell you. Years." Just he would just tell the family, "I got to go," and they had to understand that he was part of some super secret. My uncles, served in Korea and then became U.S. Marshals. And there's some old JFK footage that you could see, grainy old footage, because their detail were the kids at the time, that they were behind the Kennedys and taking care of the kids. And, it's really cool. There's my Uncle Bud, there's my Uncle Bill, and they're back there. That's way cool, right?
That is very cool. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But they would never say anything. I'm starting to ask my mom questions about them and whatnot, because I have both of my uncles' flags from when they passed. Why I have them, I have no idea, because I was never very close with them. They wouldn't tell my family shit. So the stuff that they were doing, like they were as military tight-lipped as possible. So when you start talking conspiracy theories, that's the stuff that you really want to know and find out. Like, who's the guy behind it?
Yeah.
Who's the guy behind the guy behind it?
And
Right.
there's plenty of guys.
That's a train.
It is.
That's
It's
a
a whole web. It's a whole web of people. It really is.
It's a weird orgy conspiracy train just running. Just guy behind guy.
Behind the guy.
Let's get some questions here. So there is a Facebook group that has been set up called the Vinyl Roadies, and you can ask to be a part of it, and either myself or Brad, or I think Ashley definitely is administrator. She'll let you in and approve you, and you can join in the conversation. I mean, I think it's almost up to 1,000. It's awesome. I wish every single one of you would also follow us on Instagram at the Vinyl Road Podcast, because the numbers just don't make sense. You got all these on the Facebook, but not on the Instagram. And also listen to the podcast, because anyway, so that would be nice if you could do that. So you can leave questions there weekly. I believe there's a post pinned at the top where it just says, ask questions. And then once a week, I'll go in there and just randomly pick out some of the questions that I think would be best for the show. This week, questions for Brad Stewart on the Vinyl Road Podcast from the Vinyl Roadies Facebook page. This is from Wayne Bastian. All right. I have noticed Brad has changed guitars several times over the years. Really love the blue Fenders. My question is, what has he done with those bass guitars he no longer plays?
I still have all of them.
All of them.
Well, I think I let go of like one or Stingray and maybe one of my Spectres, but I actually gifted one of my Spectres to a fan, Charlie Amelie, who's the one with the tattoo of me on his. I think I gave him one of my Spectres. But no, I thankfully been blessed to have the support over the years. I started with Spectre basses. I still have probably 4 of the 5 that I initially had. And as far as my Stingrays and my Reflex basses from Ernie Ball, Music Man, still have all of those, except for I think there was one that I didn't really like the way the pickups were set up. But then I now I'm playing Fenders, of course. I have all of those. But what I've been doing is I have a guy down in that's called Nocatee. It's a little south of Jacksonville. His name's Clay, older cat, and he's He's an older cat, but
Mhm.
his last name anyway. It's CRG Guitar Works, and I've been taking all of my old, not old, but all of my instruments down to him, and he's been just working miracles on some of them because some of them had been beat to shit from the road. They had like they were rusting from my sweat from my fingers. The frets were jacked up. They just needed some love. So I've pretty much taken uh almost everything I have to him at this point for him to fix it. My one reflex, he completely stripped the and refinished it. My reflex bass, and it looks like a brand new bass now. So yeah, man, I've tried at some times been like, man, maybe I should just kind of loosen my load of as far as I'm kind of instrument heavy and maybe sell one of these. And then I'll start looking at it. And I'm like, okay, that one was used to record on Leave a Whisper. Okay, that one was, I recorded the Fuel record with. Okay, that one. So I just start going through and I'm like, I'm attached to them. They're like my children. I feel like anyway, so long story, even longer. I keep them, all of them, if I
Do-
can.
Can you play the same bass in different bands?
Um, you mean across the three main bands? Have I played that?
Well, can
feature?
you like I'm instrument dumb. So, like if the whatever bass you were playing in Shinedown, because of how the music was done in Shinedown, and then you go to Fuel, and Fuel, obviously different band, different songs, differently written, different sounds. Do you have to use a different bass? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Not necessarily. I mean, the basses I've typically have played have been pretty much designed for rock, and I mean, it's so I think even if it doesn't fit exactly, there's some, I use Dark Glass electronics. I use some of their pedals. I don't use a whole lot of effects though, but you can kind of dirty it up or change it to kind of fit the sound. Like Saliva has a certain sound, and that's what I'm rocking with now. But the Fenders are able to adapt to that sound, and so are the music bands and stuff like that. So yeah, so I mean, but the tough part was, if you're in a band that has a bunch of different tunings, and now you're going between different basses and different brands of bass. Yes, the tonality is going to be different. So, and especially also if the tuning is different. So, one of them is a bit lower. One of the basses is a bit punchier. One of them, they have their own character sound. So, what I started doing was just playing the same, like a Stingray. Maybe it's a five-string Stingray or a five-string Fender. I would then also, for the other tuned songs, stick with a Fender bass, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And, so yes, there are differences, and so these days, for whatever band I'm in, I'm trying to stick with one brand, for the show,
Well,
no matter what the tuning is,
the bases that you have now, just call them your 401k. So if need be, one day I'm sure you could go online and say, this is the bass that I recorded Leave a Whisper with Shinedown. We're starting the bidding at $10,000. Does anybody want to buy it?
Yeah,
So,
especially if we end up in the Rock Hall one day. I mean, that might be worth that. I mean, and
right.
I've got plenty of pictures to prove it, as far
Yeah.
as that goes.
I got documentation, bitches.
Yeah.
All right, Lisa Marie, question. This was actually for me. Question for Jason Bailey. Have you been so nervous to interview someone it caused you anxiety or feel sick? If so, who? Yeah, I'll tell you, I would get more nervous interviewing someone when I was on the radio than I do in the podcast world. And that was solely, and there's different phases of that. When I was first starting in rock radio, I was terrified because I had this impression in my head that any rock person that I talk to is just going to be an asshole. They're going to be this party rebellious type of thing, and I'm not going to know how to handle it. And trust me, there were some bumps in the road when I first started and learning curves. Your boys in Fuel were a great learning curve for me. Brett and who's the guitarist?
Carl Bell. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Carl.
Total assholes. Like during that interview.
Really?
Oh my God. I don't think they were maliciously assholes. I say that tongue in cheek, but they ganged up on me. They knew that I was fresh blood because I was young in my career. And I learned my lesson. Like at any point in time, if you could not interview two guys from the same band, try to do that. That changed when you guys in Shinedown came along because you guys are great. So I was terrified with James Hetfield because he was James Hetfield. And I was, again, new in the business. Rob Zombie, terrified. Alice Cooper, Terrified. Um, um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys.
What about like Manson or someone? Did you ever?
Yeah.
interview him?
Oh my God. You want to hear a Manson story?
He's scary, dude. Yeah.
You met him before?
No, I don't think I've ever met Manson face to face. No,
Dude, let me tell you, Marilyn Manson, again, early in my rock career, so early 2000s, he's playing at the Hard Rock Live, Orlando, Universal Studios. We had competition at those days, another rock station. So I was the guy that interviewed everyone. I was anointed the interview guy. It was because I think at the time I was doing a night show. I just started, so I was new. They gave me a night show, whatever. It came over from Top 40 Radio, and we would do a live broadcast from either the Hard Rock or House of Blues for every one of these shows that are our core artist. The other rock station was there as well, so they got the same as I got. It was Marilyn Manson. We're in the Lennon room, outside the Lennon room, doing the broadcast. The interview was not taking place in public outside. We had to go to the basement of the Hard Rock and into his dressing room to do the interview. Mm-hmm. Get in the elevator. I'm with my promotions guy, who he actually shared a lot of these stories with me. We go down, we go in this room, and it's kind of dark and dampy down there. I mean, it's nice, but it's it's cement. You're underground and kind of thing. You're in Florida underground. It's kind of weird. Yeah. You go back to his dressing room and it's dimly lit, immaculately clean, smells amazing. Zero lights are on, with the exception of maybe one or two candles that are lit. The handler brings us down there, says, "Please sit here and wait for Mr. Manson. He'll be with you shortly." So I sit, there's a couch, there's a coffee table, and then there's two chairs. So I sit in one chair, the promotions guy sits in another chair. We're recording this interview on what was then called a DAT player, which was like a cassette player. So we're sitting there for a few minutes in this room, quiet, by ourselves, dimly lit, just a couple candles. Out of fucking nowhere, no door opens. This voice behind us says, "Hello, I'm Marilyn Manson." And I turn around again. I'm 6'3". I turn around. I'm sitting down. I look up. This motherfucker's wearing a top hat too, and like a three-piece suit.
Yeah,
like he's the leader of a three-ring circus, and he's full done up, makeup, everything. He's in full gimmick, and he says, "Hello, I'm Marilyn Manson. Nice to meet you. What are your names?" I was like, "I'm Buckethead. This is Josh." And he's like, "Great." He comes over and he sits down. Even sitting down, he was taller than us.
Yeah. He's gangly, dude. He's definitely got that height thing too. Yeah.
Totally. Wow. It was a great interview. I mean, it was good. I mean, like I just asked, the questions, the basic questions. I asked about the controversy. He was very open, very cool, very accommodating. When it was done, he was, "Thank you for coming." I mean, but he had no inflection. His voice did not change at all. It was extremely monotone the entire time. So anyway, he's
a smart guy though, too, man. I mean, he's really sharp, especially if you start getting into, religion and things like that, which people typically want to challenge him on the way he conducts his life and his performances and what he believes in and stuff. And then he gets onto that and he knows a lot. He's very well-spoken. He's sharp, dude.
Same with Zombie. Same with Cooper. Definitely Cooper.
Yeah.
Really, really smart. So anyway, to answer the question, Lisa, I was always nervous back then. I would get nervous when I had a big show, like in Atlanta, when I had like a 8-person show, especially some of the people in the room weren't very good interviewers. So it was more of a challenge. Like I had a couple things going on. Interviewing the guest, which I always like to say, conversing with the guest. I hate the word interview, but also babysitting the people around me, asking stupid questions, and bringing it back around. I hated that. The podcast world, I have no problems whatsoever. It's freaking wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. All right. Well, one last one. This is for Brad from Kimberly Peters, our girl Kim. Who would you most like to collaborate with on a new song? It's a good question. I want to know that too.
Yeah. I've always loved Alice in Chains. So, I mean, probably Jerry Cantrell would be cool for me.
Not William, not like the whole band, not like William. What about just William Duvall?
I love William. I just Jerry in that band is the songwriter. I mean, it always has been. If you look
Right.
at the liner notes, I mean, it's his. He's the I'd say the lion's share person coming up with all of those ideas and the lyrics and everything. And before, did you ever see the footage of him holding up the lyric sheet for Lane
No,
singing "We Die Young"
no, never
on
seen it.
facelift? Yeah, that's real shit. Like he's in there holding, and Lane's reading it, just crushing the vocal. But I mean, Jerry wrote that shit. So anyway, so I also have some ideas that sound like they could go on an Alice in Chains record. So if I got to write with Jerry, maybe that could sort of parlay said song onto one of their records, you know?
Mhm.
I don't
Do
know,
you,
man.
do
There's
you
a
have any,
lot. There's so many bands out there. I mean, that's just a legendary band. I'd love to write with Zombie though, and I would have loved to have written with Ozzy. He's gone, of course.
yeah.
Youngblood would be great. I mean, there's so many people out there I'd love to write with, man. I have a very hard time with what is your one person ever you could ever do this one thing with. I'm like, there's too many fucking choices. I gotta, can I narrow it down to 3? Yeah, I just have a problem with that. I don't have a commitment. I don't know. It's weird.
How do you pitch Jerry Cantrell? Do you have any way to get a hold of him?
There was a time where I knew the guy, I guess you call him the artist relations guy from G&L Guitars, which Jerry plays some G&L stuff. He's no longer there. And then I was hoping to one day use that connection because he's bros with Jerry too. I do know people that work with him. They're drum tech for Sean Kinney, Ian. I'd go back with Ian back when he was teching for 12 Stones. Then he was with Seether. Now he's with Alice.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I could sort of work that angle to get right to Jerry. I mean, and Jerry, does he need co-writes? No,
Mm,
I
yeah,
don't think so. I mean, I don't even know if he'd entertain something like that if I'm not in his band presenting ideas. And even then, he's got a whole litany of ideas to that I'm sure are probably
yeah,
better than mine. I don't know, but it would just be cool just for being a longtime fan, just to have him even doesn't even have to come out. Just here's some music ideas. Like, could you put something to it just to hear how it could sound with him, you
right.
know?
Well, I'm trying to get William Duvall on. He has not yet responded back to me. I know they were back to the beginning. I don't know what they're doing now. But William Duvall is a great guy. The now lead singer of Alice in Chains, for those that don't know. And he does an amazing job. And
He does.
his
Yeah.
music story is, I sat down and had lunch with him. I remember second time I sat down and had lunch with him at the Buckhead Diner in Buckhead, Georgia. And I knew very little about him other than he's the lead singer of Alice in Chains. This dude is fucking so talented. And he's actually his pedigree is from punk rock. He started as a punk rock. It was like his first band was like Neo Christ or something like that. And I didn't even know this, but in the 80s, Atlanta had a big punk rock scene.
Hmm.
And it all came to an end one night. And it was over racist shit. And he was performing that night at this club, which was very well known back in the day. And there was like this huge riot and all kinds of bad shit happened. And that just destroyed, I think I'm getting this story right, destroyed the punk scene in Atlanta because, it was like skinheads and this and this and that. William Duvall's a black guy in a punk rock band in the 80s, which, it's not
It's different. Yeah, I mean, Bad Brains was around. Those guys, a couple of guys. Yeah, I mean, the punk rock thing is man, it's an interesting story. The whole
right.
punk
But his
rock.
story, like to tell that story, and I'm sitting there just, I was trying to like swallow the situation. I'm having lunch with the lead singer of Alice in Chains. Tell me about all the shit that happened in the 80s of the punk rock scene in Atlanta. Holy shit. And like, he wants to work with me. Like we were talking, we had a mutual friend who was my agent at the time and was connecting us to do a podcast. And the problem with William is he's very soft-spoken. He's not out forthcoming like you, where you've got a story, you're going to share it and you've got to, you can talk in length. William is very soft-spoken and he does not like to talk about himself. So I was like, well, this is going to be a challenge, like we would have done something like what we're doing now. And he just couldn't do it. So it kind of fell flat. But anyway, get those questions on the Vinyl Roadies Facebook page. Please, please, please. All right. You got anything else, dude, before we get out? Good stuff.
I think that's it, man. We're doing Sturgis with Gene Simmons.
That's going to be
this weekend. It's going to be
Get
pretty
Gene on.
cool.
Ask him to come on the podcast.
Oh, man. I feel I even get to see him, dude. Hopefully we do. I mean, we're playing Buffalo Chip. I guess that would be Sunday because I'm flying in Saturday. So, yes. And, Buffalo Chip is one of the premier venues to play in Sturgis. And I haven't played it in many years. So it'll be exciting to be back on that stage. And it's usually a hell of a turnout. And I'm sure there'll be, for Gene and for us, it should be good. I think we're the only two main headliners on that stage that night. I can't remember. I have to look. But so yeah, we're excited. Obviously, the Saliva Crowd Goes Wild. We have a new video out that we shot on the Hinder Run that we did back in February and March. I think it turned out cool. Did you see it? I mean,
so not only did I see it, I downloaded it, I chopped it up so I could post the video on the Vinyl Road Instagram page. I fucking love the video. I love the song. And I always feel weird, especially if I know the band, of commenting, I would never say anything negative, but my positives, I don't want them to come across like I feel like I'm a know-it-all. I'm not. I'm just a fan. But that song checks off every box of a good rock song. And it's got a fucking guitar solo in it. Like, what the shit? In 2025, you put a guitar solo in a song?
How dare you?
Well, get ready for radio to edit that out, even though the song's 325. Yeah, but
it's a short song. I mean,
yeah, but it is such a good song. The best part about that song is its anthemy. Yeah. Saliva, to me, is an anthemy band. I love anthem rock songs. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, is still played in arenas all over the world. Mm-hmm. It's an anthem, right? This song is an anthem. Now, the one thing that I wish you guys would have done with that song is the first breakdown, right? And it breaks it down.
Yeah.
You got the soft. When you come back, I wish I would have gotten a scream or a bigger kick when you came back in. That's because that's what I was expecting. I was expecting, da 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 da. Now you're getting the crowd worked up. You're getting the crowd worked up. You're getting the crowd, and the crowd goes wild, and the crowd goes wild, and the crowd goes wild, and the crowd goes wild. That's what I was thinking Bobby was going to do.
Yeah,
but he didn't. So
having said that, maybe it was too predictable to do that. But maybe sometimes predictable's good, though.
Yeah. I was. I kid you not, dude. So, because it was funny because you had messaged either me or the Vinyl Road Instagram with the song. And right when you did that, I had just got done doing my edit and posting it as a full, right? So it wasn't just a share on a story. I was like, oh, look, we're on the same page. Anyway, I watched the video 3 times. The first time I'm watching it, I'm going, yes. What the shit? Yes. All right. Yes. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm going, all right, you got to break this down. You got to break it. The crowd is up here. Let's bring them down here and let's bring them back over the top up here. And so you did it. And you're like, the crowd goes, wow, the crowd. And I'm like, fuck yeah, here it is. I took my chair. I kid you not. I took my chair. I leaned it back. And I got my face against my monitor. It's my computer over on the other side of the studio. And I had my hands up and I was getting ready to do one of those, like crowd goes, wow. Like I swear to God. I mean, that's how into shit I get by myself. This is 50, friends. And it still was the pop, but it wasn't, because Bobby can do that growl, Bobby can do that scream. I love the song. Don't get me wrong. It's just my 2 cents. I really thought that it was going to be that demonic faced Bobby, like that. That's what I thought I was going to get. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. We could put out an alternate version.
The Scream version.
The Jason Bailey co-produced version.
Well,
No, you should run this by him. Maybe he could do it live, and it could be something he does live that's different than the record or something.
Yeah, I think I'll pass a hard pass on that one. But you could run. So here's the thing: is that, and again, that's just my 2 cents, and I don't know shit. I'm stupid, But here's the thing: is that, if you say something to him, and maybe he doesn't see it, or he has a reason why, but he's willing to. And he's like, let's give it a chance, especially at a crowd like Sturgis, for example, right?
Yeah.
And it goes viral. And the Saliva fans, or just fans that are just finding out about Saliva or just dig this song, then it starts the conversation of, well, the recorded version isn't that hard, but when they play it live, they do it this way.
Right.
You create a whole different world for this just one song. I mean, there's a lot of bands and a lot of songs that have that effect. They're like, oh, dude, you got to listen to it when they play it live. It's totally different than the album version. And then you go in and re-record it. I mean, you were a part of a story like that with 45, technically, right? So just saying, you tell Bobby. I'm not telling him. Not that I'm scared of the guy, but it's none of my business. We ain't tight like that. You're in the band.
All right, I'll tell him.
No, don't tell him. Suggest.
I'll just say, what if you did it this way live? I've had a discussion with someone that that had he has a suggestion for the live version. Just see what he says.
Well, maybe he listens to the show. I hope he does. But I can see you going, I got to suggest, actually, it's not me, but let me play this for you.
I'm going to just take the clip of you screaming, "There goes wild." I'm going to take that and just send it to him.
I'm telling you. And here's the thing is that, again, if I'm Bobby, I'm going, I agree with what you said. It's too predictable. There's a lot of bands that are going to do that. That's kind of thing. But here's the thing. And I didn't mention this, and I probably should have. The song from Saliva, Crowd Goes Wild, is very unique. Okay. So it's not, in my opinion, your typical ABC blueprint active rock song. There is a sound that you guys use, I'm assuming coming from Josh, in this song that is very unique. That
that part, yeah. He's pushing the wah down, and there's some effects going on there for sure. Oh yeah.
So
it's like an octave thing.
Yeah, you get that kind of lit-esque riff-y type of feel and sound. Yeah. And so it's got a bunch of different elements. Like the makeup of the song, the formula of the song is not your typical blueprint song. It's definitely made up differently. The guitar solo, that what we just talked about, and the breakdown are like kind of added elements to what a normal kind of active rock band song would be. So back to the scream aspect of it, if the response from Bobby would have been like, it's too predictable, I don't think anything could be too predictable with this song because it's already so unique. How about that?
Okay.
Is that good? I said that.
Prostitution rests.
Yeah.
You pled your case. No, that's a good way to spin it since okay, I feel you on that. I'm reading you.
Right.
Shoveling.
Yeah, because there's so many surprises, I think, in this song that you don't expect. But with that all being said, for the Saliva purist that wants to hear the Saliva sound, it encompasses that, but it doesn't make you live in the click click world. All right. Which it's very difficult to do, by the way.
I mean, it's kind of like, when we did Time Bomb, it was kind of like, because for a long time we were trying to not just make the click click boom song over and over again, even though people kind of want you to do that or expect that of you, or at least to put something out that's kind of close to it. So Time Bomb kind of was in the click click boom vein, but I feel like Crowd Goes Wild's different. I mean,
I
it's
agree.
not, it's different. I mean, if anything, sounds a little bit more like Limp Bizkit or something to me in the verses, and it's got a Bizkit feel. I don't know. It's got its own thing, maybe. Whatever. But I think, it turned out cool, and I think that,
I
I mean,
agree.
it could be the song that finally is the next song for us. I mean, because we thought Devil's World was going to be the next song for us. We thought Time Bomb was going to be the next song for us, and it's just, you put things out there and people respond to it, and sometimes it strikes a nerve, and
I
it
I
for whatever reason, certain songs do.
I
I mean,
I think what you guys have that is an advantage that I don't know if you fully exploit it yet is Bobby's kind of grunge range
mhm.
that I know he can do, but
Oh yeah,
I don't hear him do it a lot. So if you hear some of the stuff he does with his daughter, you hear it there, but you don't hear it with Saliva. Like it's so hard to be in a band again with no original members and are known for really that freshman album and a certain sound and try to not really reinvent, but just kind of evolve. You have every opportunity in the world with Bobby because he's got that grunge, gritty range that he
mhm.
can do. Bobby's an amazing vocalist. He's really, really
It
talented.
it
So
really
I don't
is.
I don't know if you guys are afraid to kind of pull the trigger on going that way and losing your purest fan base or not, but like this song, when I say the scream, I'm not talking about the early 2000s active rock scream. I'm talking about the 90s kind of grunge scream. There's screams from different eras. Like you had the 80s scream, the kind of thing, Vince Neil, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
In the 90s, you had the, gritty grunge scream. In the early 2000s, you had just a legit, I'm screaming at you type of thing.
yeah.
So I think Bobby, if anybody, can kind of find that certain scream where it gets you up off your feet. Because I'm listening to the song. The song is for the crowd. Crowd goes wild. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, had the thought process of having this played in stadiums, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have at some point in a song that's called "Crowd Goes Wild" a stop up where the crowd waits for it and gets all excited for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and I think that there was that one moment when you come back that you missed it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just give it a chance. Just give it a chance.
Just as there's so many people involved with these recordings, and it's just you think that someone would have caught that part, but
Did
it,
you not?
I just think again, like it's the predictability part. I mean, that was probably in the conversation. I'm sure that idea had come up. At least hopefully it did come up. And then maybe for whatever reason, I mean, the producer says, or whoever's like, we do that a lot, or that's what everyone thinks. Yeah. You try to still keep it fresh and real
But why would
and
you let
somewhat
people down? I mean,
unique. What's that?
why would you let people down? Like if your kid's expecting a bike on Christmas and going, yes, he's expecting the bike. We're gonna get him a football instead. Like, why would you? I had the same conversation with Brent back in the early days about his vocal range is just ridiculous and why he doesn't. And some of the songs, in my opinion, a lot of the Shinedown songs, not recently, like Killing Fields and stuff like. I mean, they started doing different, but it was very formula like, and it was kind of, to me, it was one of these things. For a while there was no up and down with the Shinedown songs, and I remember saying something to him like, why? I mean, you have the range. Like, I love that shit. I love that. I'm getting like, you wait for that version of the song, that portion of the song, and you're just like excited for it. It just pops in. Great example. We're talking about Biscuit and Faith, right? I mean, that last verse in there when it just stops and then I gotta have fun. I mean, dude, I every time I hear that, I go fucking nuts. I love that's what makes that song so great. I mean, that song's only like 2.5 minutes long, the Biscuit version.
It's on that first record, So Leave a Whisper, the No More Love song where he's like, there's no more love, and it's like it's ripping during that's fucking killing it, that part. Yeah, I mean, when we did the record with Bob, he was kind of like, look, I don't want to like make a record with this band and it just be basically like Brent wanking on how great his voice is. He's like, it still has to have more substance and like parts that are just not just him going off the whole time vocally, like Christina Aguilera doing runs and doing up and down the scales and shit like that, which I agree with him on that part for sure. I mean, as long as it's tasteful, like the Deftones, I really think like Chino had that shove it, and he's screaming and shit. Like he had a cool scream like that. That I don't think he overdid it either, though. So I think there's got to be some sort of middle. John Davis, exactly. But when he's not screaming the whole time, but I mean, he's got some badass screams in there. So you're right, though. I mean, hey man, I'll run it up the flagpole and see what he says, dude. At this point, it may be too late. Fuck, I mean, the song's out there. We did the video already. Unless we just do it live, I mean,
look, if that gets passed and you do it and it hits and it works, I can die a happy man. That's all I've ever that's all I've ever wanted in my life is to contribute to a song. So I can be a part of a story that lives forever. It's like, oh, this is stupid radio guy, podcaster guy gave this suggestion and shit, it works. It became a huge hit and everybody loved it. Dude, I will go to the hospital and euthanize myself. That's how okay with it I am. That's exciting.
Man, don't do that. Come on.
All right. Please follow not only at the Vinyl Road Podcast on Instagram, but all the shows on the BPX at Honey, I Raised the Kids, which releases on Mondays about me and my wife becoming empty nesters. I do it with my wife. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, the BS at Listen to the BS, with Tuesday and Thursday being subscription episodes. Feels free to subscribe at jasonbailey.com. There you will find the merch store. We were talking about the Vinyl Road Podcast shirts and stuff like that. If you go to the Vinyl Roadies page on Facebook, you'll see a lot of people getting some of them. It's probably the coolest logo that I've ever seen for a podcasty radio showy type of thing. Cooler than
it is logo. Cool. It's very cool.
It's really cool.
It's kind of retro-y, but not. It's kind of new. It's got all those elements in it. I think it's pretty bad. When I first saw it, I was like, "That's it. Let's go with that shit." It
wears well. And Ben Badger, he's a graphic designer. He's on with me on the BS. He's the one that designed it, and so it wears well. So if you want one of these shirts, hats, mugs, pillows, they do it all. You just go to the merch store on jasonbailey.com, and we'd appreciate it. Thank you to our sponsors. Again, Once Upon a Coconut, our title sponsor for all the shows, onceuponacoconut.com. Use the discount code BSPodcast10 at checkout. Save some Gitases. If you would like to be a sponsor, please reach out to me. We'd love to have you on board. jasonbailey.com. All right. Other than that, Brad, you got anything before we get out?
Thanks for listening. I love you all. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Out there on the road somewhere, on the Vinyl Road somewhere.
The Vinyl Road. Yeah, when you go see Saliva and, they've got more news and exciting stuff coming up, get your Vinyl Road podcast shirt and wear it, when you go out to the show. So, I mean,
I'll sign it for you.
Look at that. If Brad sees you wearing one, he's going to jump off the stage in the middle of the song and sign it for you.
And Sharpie you up mid-song. Let's go.
All right, guys. Thanks for the support. If you're going to be doing some drinking, I understand. I get it. If you had too much, please don't get behind the wheel of a car. I've lost way too many friends like that. I love you, and thanks for the support. Talk to you soon. Hey, boy.
I think we should do a podcast about rock and roll. I got some stories.
That's it for this episode. Check out jasonbailey.com for more shows. Until next time.
Yeah, dude. Another good one.
3 different shows, 5 days a week, 1 feed, details, and to subscribe, jasonbailey.com.